No,
to
it's
post
still,
on the tweet. Okay.
according to this, the stream is still actually going.
Okay.
There we go.
There we
There
go.
we are.
We're on
There
the
we go.
Hopefully it doesn't cut it. Hopefully all you have to do in the editing is like cut that take out and you should be okay.
No,
Well, I'll have to
it
just record
shows
two
it's
separate
completely
videos,
having
basically.
ended.
Yeah, I'll just have to record two separate videos, basically.
If you want, send the videos to me and I could edit them together to make one video for you.
Yeah, you could do that.
Because I have video editing software on my computer.
Yeah, me too. But I just don't want to do it.
That's what I'm saying. If you would like me to do it, I would take
That's
it.
why I said I may do that. All right. So,
It's off again.
anyways, when last we left them, we were discussing how you guys got into this jail and how other than Folidar, it's Folidar, right?
Yes.
How
Folidar.
other than Folidar, most of you only have a vague idea of maybe how you got here, correct?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that I was arrested for throwing somebody in the ocean.
Yeah, that could be it. You're not 100% sure where you are. You know you're in a jail of some sort, obviously. But it doesn't look like any jail you've ever been in before for those of you who have been in jail.
That would definitely be me.
That's probably Cutler and Caw would definitely fit that bill. It's hard to tell who the others of you. Maybe Jessa. Is it Jessa?
Yeah.
Jessa. Maybe your other persona has been in jail before, or maybe you've been in jail before because of your other persona. At any rate, it seems to be fairly quiet. It seems to be kind of having different things going on, but you guys are all kind of at the moment just kind of stuck in your places, kind of staring at the walls, so to speak. Is there anything anyone would like to do?
Yeah. Liren's gonna go over to the separating wall between him and the Dragonborn, and he's gonna knock on the bar. Oi, big man.
Can I help you, tiny
Right.
one?
Yeah, you speak common. All right, that works. Where is this place?
I have no fucking clue. My guess
Right.
is a prison. I mean, we are trapped behind bars after all.
As I hear them talking, I would just like to exclaim, "Oh, you're all awake at last." I was just about finished reading this book, you know.
You're on the other side. Would you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's completely open bars. I mean, it's not like it's not like it's a like there's nothing separating you guys but air and bars,
Okay then.
And there's a wall that you can't see beyond, but here it's completely open. This whole area here is completely open.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
But there's a wall right that goes like right from here.
So
down
I can
to there.
I can only completely make out
These two
Caw.
over here.
I can see them, but it's kind of dark, and then I can see the other two, but also a little dark in their area. So
You can see Caw from where you're at.
yeah, I can see him
nice, okay.
completely from where I am, and I'm just like so I haven't really been able to properly identify any of you. I've been just waiting on the little one over there to wake. I've been quite bored, honestly.
No, I'm curious as to what Folidar can see, so I'm gonna
I'm
look from his perspective.
I can see Oliver's character. What's its name again, Oliver?
Felon. It's called Felon.
Okay.
Wait. How can you see?
I don't know, but on
No, I
my
mean, how
side,
can I want to see? How can Deontay? How can you see Caw?
I can see what I can see. I have no clue.
According to what I can see, you can't see Caw.
Oh no, I can definitely
from
see
your
him.
token. Maybe you can see from Oliver's token too. Hang on, let me
Maybe
check.
an issue?
Let me check, because
Yes.
you might be able to see from Oliver's token too, who is
that could very
Fallon.
well be what's going on.
It is
Because Oliver should definitely be able
No?
to see us. 'cause
strange. How can you see Caw? It's so strange. Because when I look from your token's perspective, I can't see it. Maybe you can see from Stephanie's token.
Nope.
Actually,
I have no clue what's happening there.
Yes, you
'cause
can
I
see from Stephanie's token. Yep, that's what it is. I bet because Stephanie can see Ka from her vantage point.
How about to say, yeah, when you move Stephanie around, nothing changes with my vantage point.
Hold on then.
What about when he moves you around?
Oh,
He
no,
did,
still
nothing
all
changed.
players. No, yeah, nothing changed.
Oh, do I have all sight? Perfect. I'll take it.
You have all-seeing
I
sight.
see all.
I'm just walking around like I already know where we're headed.
That's weird that you can see Ka though on your screen.
And it's not as if I can see the entire map either. I just want to be clear on that.
Well, what can you see? Take your little arrow thing, your little ruler, and show me what you can see from like. Can you see? Okay, so you can't.
It's already
see...
showing to others.
What?
It says it's showing to others already.
What do you mean it's showing to others already?
You said go to the ruler.
When he did the ruler, it showed a straight line from where he would be to.
That was me doing the ruler.
Yeah, he did the ruler. So let me show you what I can see. So I can see all of this.
Uh-huh.
I can see here.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wait, we're out here.
That's weird.
Really is. But I'm guessing I can just move forward and see the. But then here's where it starts to get a little dark, and then over here I can see where he is right now perfectly fine.
For some reason.
But I can't see here that well.
Yeah, according to my screen, if you look at this, are you looking at the stream at all?
I am.
Let me go to it. Let me look at it.
If you look at the stream, this is what you should be able to see.
Oh, I know what that's about then, because I can see. Like I said, I don't see the whole map. I can definitely see block offs.
Yeah, but
I can see here.
Yeah, see, that's not what you should be able to see on the screen.
Yeah, I can't see you, but you can see me.
That's crazy. I guess I have X-ray vision to a limited
See,
degree.
there's Ka. This is what you should see on the stream for if you were going to see Ka. If you're out of your cell, you could see Ka and them. But
let's just say I got to the bars and could see him very vaguely.
Yeah.
Then I'll just no, I would have to come out of it. No, that's not even.
How are the bars? Can we like stick our heads through them?
Probably not. I mean, probably, yeah, probably not.
Give it a try.
I mean, you are a changeling, so probably you could.
Okay, let's just use that.
And I believe that Folidar is a changeling also, correct?
Yeah.
But you look like a human, correct?
Right. So let's just use that. Let's just say I just. Oh, okay. I can see
Squeeze through the bars a little bit. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why my sight is like that. I guess it is probably coming from multiple points of view, maybe.
Yeah.
But no, that's what I can see.
That's the only thing I can think of, but... Oh!
Don't worry, out.
Yeah.
I have the same problem, too.
Is he perhaps seeing through one of our tokens, maybe?
That was
That's what I was trying to see, but...
Oh.
It's hard to say. Cutler? Is it? No? Cause
One weird thing on my end is that I can also see the other
yes,
side of the room.
yes. So you should be able to see Cutler's view. That's why everybody should be able to see Cutler's view right now. That's why.
Why?
There we go. How about now?
There we go.
Oh, good.
Why was everybody able to see from my view?
Because it was still on all players.
Oh. Well, that fixed the issue.
Yep. Taken care of.
Yep.
All right.
Now I can.
Hold on.
Go on.
It should you can still see some from somewhere else? Oliver?
Nope. I can only. Go ahead.
No, hold
I
on.
can only see him.
Guys. Oliver.
I can see straight through the other side, but only just.
Yeah. That's who you should be able to see that. That's open. This is open.
Yeah,
This is nothing but
exactly.
bars, and this is nothing but air here. But
yeah, and I have a vaguely feeling that in the shadow behind the little kobold is something big and scaly.
yes, yep, you should be able to see him kind of at least. All right, so
Yeah.
All right, so so Derek, when you go and you when Liren goes over and talks, is it Liren or Lyran?
Liren.
Liren. When Liren goes over and talks to Cutler, yeah, Cutler. Sorry. When Liren goes over and talks to Cutler, you kind of get a twinge in your stomach.
Well, at least prison food hasn't changed.
Agreed.
You seen any gods?
Not so far, I haven't. but I highly doubt this place is left on
Nah. Someone wanted us in here. Badly, mate, if they're gonna drag your ass in here.
guard. Right?
So does anybody else wanted to do? Let's go to James. Did you want to do anything or try to do anything?
I would like to inspect my body, see if I'm wearing like handcuffs or anything, because I've been in prisons before.
Yeah, you're not wearing any kind of shackles or manacles or anything. You do also see that Ka is asleep.
I scream, "Hey, Kaw, wake up!"
I reach for my holy symbol and I can't find it and start freaking out.
We're in prison again, mate.
No. I'm gonna run over the bars and scream for help. You got the wrong person! I'm not supposed to be here!
What the hell is that? Your son or something?
Friend.
He looks like a little dragonborn.
Also, just
a little bit.
FYI, Kablooey, that's what they all say. They're not gonna believe you.
I have to trust the system. We get a trial, right? A fair trial. I don't know how the justice system works.
With the crimes I've committed over the years, I'm surprised I'm not executed yet.
Oh, don't talk like that, Uncle Cutler.
You guys see coming around the corner, and you see a guard, of course, and he says, "Pipe down, you." He says, "Y'all are here for a reason, I'm sure." Says,
No. There's a misunderstanding. I'm sure of it.
He says, "And what kind of misunderstanding could it be?"
I don't know. That's kind of the nature of misunderstandings.
He says, yes. Everyone here is here for a misunderstanding. Ain't that right, lads? And you guys can hear, you know, like just from all over the prison. You guys can hear people sounding off about how they're not supposed to be here, kind of thing.
I'm sure they all have valid points.
He says, "I'm sure they do too. Now go back to sleep or hush your face." And
Oi.
he starts to
Hey.
walk away. He says,
Hey.
he says, what do you need?
This? Where is this?
He says, "You're in the dungeon.
Which dungeon?
The dungeon.
The dungeon. Under what castle or place?
You are near Prince Andrew's castle."
Prince Andrew. Do I know anything about a Prince Andrew?
Make a history check.
Sure. Ooh, first
we
roll.
be able to
Can
do
you?
that
I
too?
get the first roll? What's this? All right, I'm gonna set the the precedence for every other roll. A 10, absolutely middling.
Perfect.
Well, thank you for the precedence.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Okay. Yep. So 10. Okay. So, you are thinking to yourself, you know, it could be, you know, somebody you know. You know, the name sounds somewhat familiar, but you're not sure. The only thing like you can like, you think that there was a Prince Andrew like quite some time ago, but he was far north of where you should be at, or the last place you remember being, which the last place you remember being was where?
Probably finishing up a job with the Lion Shield Coster outside of Daggerford.
Daggerford, yeah. So far north and to the east of there is the last time, and from what you from what you can remember, he is he has not been heard or seen of, seen from or anything in quite some time.
All right.
In like nearly 100 years. So,
Well, shit. All right. He's gonna go sit back on his cot, kind of staring.
so you're wondering, you know, like you don't, the name doesn't sound like pertains to what you thought of, you know, like.
All right. That doesn't make sense. No, that makes no sense.
I rattle on my bars and I just say, "Oh, guard, might I have a moment of your time?"
He says, sure, but I've already been warned about you.
Uh?
He says, yes, I think you're better than everyone else. Yes, I know.
It was just a matter of fact. Not a matter of better. But since we're talking about better, when am I due to be judged? Typically, I don't think amassing a library is a criminal offense.
He says, it's probably not. He says, but that's above my pay grade. He says, I don't trifle with such matters. He says, I'm just a guard after all.
You know, guard, you have a pretty face.
He says, okay.
That's weird.
Well, I suppose that's all then, isn't it?
He says, I suppose. And he says, and he kind of walks back off the other way.
I heard worse innuendo.
What is going on in this place?
So, just to be clear, he did definitely walk over to my bar and just
yeah.
look at me. Okay, great.
Kind of looked at you strange when you told him you had a pretty face, but yeah.
So I think I'm going to take it.
That's what I was thinking too.
That's what we call foreshadowing.
Say, got your face.
Yeah, but he would know this.
Poor bastard doesn't even know what's gonna hit him.
What was the guard armed with? Did I get a good chance to take a look?
Yes, he was armed with. Well, you know what? Hang on, I gotta pop it back up because for whatever reason, hang on, let me
Armed with a real big keychain.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
Right, with how many cells are in
That
this
would be
place?
useful.
He was armed with basically what amounts to a shield and a spear.
Okay. All right.
You do notice that. Oh, go ahead.
Can I look at the lock on my cell and look to see if I can find anything that would work as like lockpicks?
You see the lock on your cell. You notice that your cell seems to be bigger, larger than anybody else's that you see here. You do notice the absence of a chamber pot, but
Hey.
the lock itself seems to be sort of a complicated mishmash of maybe several locks. You're not really finding much that you could use as a lockpick. If you want to do like an investigation check or I guess an investigation check would be the best thing. Maybe you could find something in the cell that might. Okay, so you figure that your best bet would be to take a splinter off the pallet that you've been sitting on, and maybe peel off a splinter of wood and maybe use that as a lockpick, even though it wouldn't be a very strong lockpick.
Brian, can I ask a question really quickly?
Sure.
Is all of our cell doors like that, or just hers? Because I was gonna make a comment.
All of your cell doors have a kind of a strange yet complicated lock on them. And you also notice make a perception check for anybody who's seen the guard.
Okay, so
Okay.
You got it.
Definitely.
I think everybody's seen the guard, correct? Liren, were you able to see where I put him?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, make a perception check for the guard.
All right, I've got to.
Okay, Jessa.
I got a 7.
Jessa, you are certain you've never seen the livery that the guard has been like dressed in before.
You said perception, right?
Yeah, perception.
Oh, I definitely don't know this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7s.
Yeah, none of the rest of you, they he looks like a guard. You know,
Oh my God.
he's a guard for sure. You know, like that's it. Some kind of guard and some kind of chain shirt and shield and carrying a spear. Jessa, you on the other hand, not only notice that that he is dressed so strangely compared to any other guard that you've ever seen. His gear, his shield, his chain, his spear, everything about him was of the highest quality, yet decidedly not of elven make.
Well, that is more reason to exit.
And
so
as
let's
you
get
made
to lockpicking.
as you made this perception check, you notice there's a similar, almost alien strangeness about the bars and the lock as well. Okay, so go ahead and if you want to make a lockpick, picking locks thing, you will make it. Do you have a? Are you proficient with lockpicks?
Yes.
You are? Okay, so then you'll make it as a straight roll this time because you're using a piece of wood. You're using a wood splinter that you peeled off the bench or the pallet, sleeping pallet.
I mean, straight is better than disadvantage.
Okay, so thieves' tools, so 18. Normally you'd be at advantage because, you know, if you're using thieves' tools and you're proficient in them. If you're using a tool and you have a proficiency in that tool, usually you're at advantage. That's the variant rule we're using. So 18, you hear something click, but you're not 100% sure or anything, you did anything.
My, how talented are we? It seems you have a deal of
I just
experience
don't
in breaking
belong
up.
here, so I'm just trying to go.
Oh, I'm
Don't
sure.
mind me.
Really interested how I got in here because my cell is behind yours.
Oh, you know what? I have this. Oops.
At least you guys have plenty of room in your cells. I've been sitting in this position for hours.
That should be it. There we go.
Have fun with that, and I'm gonna try the lock to see if it got.
See
I
if it-
opened it.
See if you can get it again. Okay.
Wait. Little Missy, try open my door. So if the guardsman shows around, he probably doesn't recognize at first that we are trying to change the subject of these doors from closed to open.
Sorry, he's suggesting that you unlock his cell first.
I think your camera's froze, Oliver.
I think too. Yes. It's still
That's fine.
showing my.
He's got his picture up there.
Okay.
It's been froze off and on, but also when he moves, it's kind of like staggered, or it was anyway. But either way.
My camera keeps turning on and off too, so.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right. So Stephanie, so he is suggesting this elf is suggesting that you unlock his cell first, which would be the door is over here by him.
Why would I do that?
Because if the guard noticed this, you are not technically breaking out. You're breaking into my cell.
Totally not a crime.
Right.
Sound logic indeed. As I flip through another page. Miss, I have no intention of asking you to break me out of here. But I think it would be advantage if you had more numbers with you.
Alright, folk. I don't know how many jailbreaks you've been involved in, but they're usually a lot quieter. Yeah?
Right?
Oh, well, this is actually my first. Thank you for asking.
You can hear from the other. You can hear from down the hall. You can hear. If you're in here, it's probably because you killed someone. And then you hear some giggling, like from several of the inmates.
Me killing someone?
No. I'm too young to kill anybody.
I mean, there's a potential that maybe the dude I threw in the ocean drowned.
See,
Yeah, no, that's actually scam.
Alright, if killed
All right.
verbally, then yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'll hopefully see you guys later or not. I don't know, but I'm gonna try and open my door.
Okay, good. It'll be a straight roll again.
Bold. Very bold.
So we're going to take the first number if you accidentally have advantage clicked. It's interesting that it didn't gray out the 18 or the 23 on the advantage thing, or the 11. Okay, so yeah. Well, I guess it wouldn't matter for the 11 because they're both the same number. But, okay, you fiddle with the lock again, and the splinter breaks.
A valiant effort.
And you spend the next probably minute or so trying to remove the rest of the splinter from the inside of the lock, so you can, kind of maybe try it again in a minute. Anybody else going to do anything? Ka, you're awake now too, so I mean, you might be witnessing some of this going on.
Yeah, I'm having a bad day.
I would jokingly go to Ka. Hey, you're religious. Why don't you pray to your god to free you?
That's actually not a bad idea.
And meanwhile, I would like to check how strong these bars seem.
Okay, they seem pretty strong. They seem pretty sturdy. Are you going to try to bend them or break them?
I'm thinking about it. I'm also thinking about seeing if the bed is, connected to the floor.
No, the bed is just basically a wooden pallet with some like a plank at each end, kind of to hold it up.
I have an idea. I look over to Lyran. Is it okay if I smack you with a wooden pipe?
Why would I say yes to that request?
We can get a guard into your cell if you're close enough to the bars, and I could grab him to grab his keys.
Alright. Here's what I'm saying. You want to bloody me to get a guard to come running so that you can grab him, bloody him, take his keys, open your cell door.
No wonder you're in here.
Of course I would free you, too. I'm not leaving without you two.
I feel like we've bonded so much in just a short amount of time. Alright, so here's the thing. We don't know how many of them there are. We know they're armed with spears and shields. I know how to use those, do you?
I mean, a spear probably is close enough to the glaive I normally use.
Alright.
Oh, this jailbreak is just so interesting.
The other alternative is I could try my breath weapon to fry these bars.
I mean, by all means, I'm actually pretty interested to see what happens when you interact with them.
Okay.
Guys, I don't think this is gonna help our case when we go to trial.
We're not going to trial. I'm pretty sure they're going to kill us. Alright, I'm going to attempt to use my breath weapon on the bars.
Okay. You go to breathe on it, and you kind of like almost like something stuck in your throat, or like maybe you drank something, or whatever it is, you cannot muster the spark needed to have your breath weapon go for whatever reason.
At that, Colton would rage, pick up the bed, and attempt to break the bars.
Okay, so what would? Oh, my camera just went sideways. What is your breath weapon, anyways? It's
fire.
Fire. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, you just can't. It's sometimes or for some reason you just can't. Get it to ignite. You might spit out like a little puff of smoke, and that's about it.
Yeah, he would rage at this and attempt to break the bars.
Okay, so go ahead and make a athletics check.
Because I'm raging, that would have advantage, right?
Maybe.
Because
are you a barbarian?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Sure, we'll give you advantage.
Okay. Advantage. And athletics, which I am proficient in, so maybe 20.
Okay, you can hear the bars protest as you strain against them, but they don't really budge.
You see that? Yeah?
Well, with him making more noise, can I attempt to unlock my luck shell again?
Yeah, yes, but you have to go and retrieve another splinter before you do this. But yes, you can do that. After all, it is just a wood bed, so like you guys.
One question. The lock is quite sturdy. Not though. Could
Yeah, and
be.
it's built into the door, and it has a almost what looks like a pin through it kind of thing, and then it's got three what looks to be like three padlock type enclosures over the top of the pin. So like it's like a rounded pin, and then the three enclosures go through the round opening.
So if you break the pin, the door will be open.
Possibly.
Well,
if you break all three pins, yes.
Okay. I've plenty of time. In my free time, Fallon.
Or I guess if you break the bigger pin going that the three pins are going through, then that would work too.
Yeah, let's. Fallon is thinking about if how the pins are reacting to a little bit of ray of frosting.
Okay. So you're gonna try to cast a spell on it?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you go to
For
cast
a little bit ray of frosting.
when you go to cast this cantrip, but you start to begin the cantrip, and it seems to get ready, and you seem to be going along very smoothly, and then suddenly, as you get ready to cast it, you've forgotten it.
Ooh.
I hate when that happens.
What am I doing?
You're like, wait a minute, how can I forget a cantrip? So it's almost as if you kind of have a little mind blank as you do that.
As I see that from my point of view, I kind of perk up a little. Now, how interesting is that?
Yeah.
Quite unnerving.
Gentlemen on the other side, have you had any luck unnerving these bars?
No, there's something going on with them.
They're
Would I-
definitely very durable.
Any use of magic?
My breath weapon would not fire.
Nullifying our abilities. That's a rather curious lot of information that I don't have.
Oh, that's kind of commonplace in a lot of jails these days.
Yes, but quite different from me. I suppose this is my first time being jailed. I've decided to help all of you.
I need to focus. I'm getting this lock.
Guard!
What?
What the hell?
You say that?
What are
You
you
say
trying to
guard
do?
out loud, huh? I decided to help all you by calling the guards.
Right? Like what the fuck?
Okay. You notice it's fairly quiet, but you hear like a protest from some of what sounds like some of the other inmates, like shut up, keep it down, people are still trying to sleep, and like stuff like that, and then after a moment though, you see another guard come around the corner, and he kind of like says, "What is it?"
So does he walk up to me, or is he just like coming in and saying, "What is
He
it?"
just kind of comes up to the corner, and he kind of like says, "What is it?"
Can he see me?
Yeah, he can see you. Can you see him? You should be able to see him.
Just the top of his head. That's why I asked.
Yeah, he can see you. Yep.
Okay. I just say, "Excuse me, guard."
Yes,
I
yes.
wanted to inquire about something. What is your policy on information? Well, let's just say I may know that someone is trying to escape from here, and with good success.
He says, well, they would have to make it past us.
Ah, yes, the wooden day. So, come closer. I can tell you the details.
He's like, he says, he comes a little bit closer. He says, what exactly are you playing at?
Well, between you and I heard someone from one of the other cells who intended to get out of here via digging their way out.
And I'm assuming at this point, Jessa is kind of got the splinter behind her back and just standing by the door.
Yep.
Right? Just like, I'm not doing anything.
He says,
Playing totally innocent.
he says, well, whoever it is, they're not gonna escape these cells.
Oh, and why is that?
He says, well, do you honestly imagine that this would be the first person to try to escape one of these cells?
I would imagine not, I guess. But for say, every challenge eventually has a successor.
He says, perhaps. He says, but even if they escape, they would have to get past us.
Right, and getting past you, of course, with your weapons of which you carry.
He says,
Which
precisely.
look quite nice.
Okay.
And
And now
one
that,
question,
now that the guard is all
little-
in plain view again, you guys could all make another perception check if
yeah.
you would like.
Yeah.
young guardsman, one question. It's really fancy equipment do you handle there? Do you have to bought it for yourself, or is this part of the usual dress up
He says,
as a
no.
guard?
He says, no, this is provided by the prince, of course.
That armor doesn't remind me of any prince I can think of.
He
I got
says,
an 18.
It's perception.
okay,
Your prince, does he have a name? Maybe I've heard of him.
so Lyran and Cutler, and Oliver, you all notice that the garb and weapons and such that he carries is very foreign, at least. You know, it's very different than what you're used to. Whether some of you have been in jail or otherwise, you know, you've seen other guards, you know, in town and, you know, at different places, and it doesn't look like anything you've seen before. Deontay, make a history check.
Will do.
Where is Folidar from normally? Like, where does he hang out? Do you know?
I had him originally being a random village child,
Okay, so like a small village somewhere.
and he had a monastery that he came from. So the monastery is very closed off. So he doesn't really have but he has a lot of knowledge of the world in general.
Okay.
Book knowledge.
And like, he's a monk
He is a
or a
former
priest?
monk,
Okay.
technically.
Okay. So I guess what I was trying to guess is like what order he followed, or what deity he followed, or if any.
So okay, as a monk, he does have a monastery. I somehow don't have the name for it anymore. But he was only there for use of ki because he had some sort of proficiency in it. He doesn't really subscribe to the monastery's views.
Okay. So you don't do you have an order that you plan on following, or a path? I mean.
Yes, I do. Give me one moment, please, to bring that back up so I can tell you what path that was going to be. Sorry, let me just there we go. Okay, my path that I was going to follow was I believe, the way of the open hand.
Oh, by the way,
No, I take that back. Way of the Cobalt Soul we didn't discuss. I was considering that.
Lyran, I just remembered it wasn't north and east that you remember. It was north and west, and it was Neverwinter.
Got you.
And you don't remember that it was a prince per se. You remember that it was a nobility, for sure.
Yeah.
But again, it was 100 years ago. It was up near Neverwinter.
All right.
History. I'm old enough to be part history.
Did you hear me?
What's that?
Brian?
No, sorry. What was that?
I was saying, originally it was the way of the Cobalt Soul,
Yeah.
but that was only if you allowed it.
Yes, but I'm just
Okay.
trying to get an idea.
Okay.
Okay. I'll have to look into that. But I was trying to think of like where the monastery might be located.
I didn't get that far.
That's fine. Okay, so you don't recall an Andrew per se, except for again maybe in the north of the Sword Coast, maybe about 100 years ago, similar to Lyran's thoughts.
Andrew, I'm sorry. The name doesn't ring a bell. A prince whose name is so little known to me. Would that not be a prince who is not held in high regard?
He looks a little surprised. He says, "Oh no, he's held in very high regard." He says, if it weren't for him, we would have not made it through the War of the Spheres."
The spheres.
Fallon is acting up. Wait. What?
You know, the War of the Spheres.
Can you elaborate on that? It's quite an interesting topic. I really like to discuss every time as it's coming up.
He says, "Well, I don't really know much about it. It was long ago. I just know that it was basically fought with the Vodani."
Everybody knows that exactly.
Make a history check for Fallon.
Moment. I really thought about deception, so you can believe me. History. History. Yeah, he's yeah, I know.
Okay.
Everybody knows.
Yeah. And you realize you have no idea at this point.
Can I make a deception check so that
you
everybody around me?
You also have no idea who the Vodani are. You know, like,
no, exactly.
You're like who's the Vodani? You know, like what's that about? You know, like.
Fallon is total clueless and he's trying to hide it.
He says, "Look, I'm just a guard. I can't give you a history lesson." He says, "It was mostly nearly 100 years ago." He says, "You know, they had these werewolves or some kind of lycanthropes, I guess, and there was like the Vodani, of course, and Volcaran. Everybody on Brawl knows about it."
I see. And do you, by any chance, have a book on this or so?
He says, no. Aside from the book you brought in, there are in short supply here in the jail.
Huh, you lost my interest.
And he kind of like starts walking off.
Hey,
wait,
guard.
One second.
He says,
Guard?
damn it.
Guard, what time is it?
He says, I am not here to answer all your personal questions. He says, I'm here to make sure you don't do anything stupid, and probably make sure that you live to see trial.
So we need to be well fed and nourished with food and water.
He says you'll get food when it's time. And he kind of
Guard,
starts heading.
I haven't complimented your face yet.
He says yes, and he kind of like heads off.
All right, a couple of words were thrown out there. Valdani, Brawl, War of the Spheres. Do you
Yeah.
mind if I history check any of those?
Yeah, go ahead and make a history check.
Thank you.
I say I'm completely in the dark as to what their
Can I do
information
that
is
as well,
regarding.
Brian?
Yes, everybody can make a history check on those things if they would like.
Ooh, fun.
Okay, Liren, you're not sure of what the War of the Spheres even could be?
Right.
And Brawl does not sound like any place you've ever heard of. And that in actually Jessa and Liren, both of you, not Deontay, but Folidar doesn't recognize this, but Liren and Jessa, you kind of have heard of Brawl, but the only Brawl you've ever heard of is one of the tiers of Selune.
What is Selune?
Goddess of the
big.
Selune is the goddess of the moon, but the tiers of Selune and Selune itself refers to the moon. And the tiers of Selune are these brightly lit things that they're basically, for lack of a better term, asteroids that follow the moon around, that trail the moon. They're in orbit with the moon, but they don't orbit around the moon. They just kind of orbit with the moon. They're just basically smaller moons, maybe. Most people don't know, but they are all named. They all have their own names. These tiers do. But they're called the tiers because they look like they're little lit up drops of Selune. Like basically.
It can't be. It just can't be.
What?
You.
God's taking the piss. That's all.
That's weird, but whatever.
Exactly.
It's out of sight. I'm gonna try again.
You're gonna try to pick the lock again? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, men on the other side,
Yeah.
would you mind calling for the guard again?
Why?
What the hell?
They seem pretty annoyed. Why?
I'm so distracted.
Okay, yeah, you break another splinter and spend another 2 minutes trying to dig that one out. It's so well lodged into the lock.
Well, I had a good look at both of their faces. You just need to tell me which one you've called over, and I should be able to do something.
Okay. Guard!
Okay, you hear protesting from the other inmates, of course.
Oh, shut the fuck up!
You hear them kind of like respond in kind, and kind of like, oh, you shut up, and then you hear kind of the prison kind of breaks out in a raucous like tumult, and a guard quickly comes around and he says, now you then. He says, if you don't shut your trap, I'm gonna have to come in there and shut it for you.
Ooh, I would like to see you try!
He says, keep it up. And he kind of like starts to walk
Do I
back
see
down
which
the other
one of the guards it is?
It's the first guard that came up.
Okay. I would like. Oh wait, I'm gonna wait till he signals it.
First guard!
Yells,
First
"It's
guard!
Okay. I would like to change
You
into the
yell
second
first guard?
guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you change into the second guard. You look like the second guard.
I try to do his voice.
Now, does it
well.
change your clothing?
No.
Didn't think so. Okay. So you try to do his voice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And say what?
Help!
Okay.
We've been had, or something along those lines.
Been had? Okay.
Yes.
How loudly are you going to say this? Make
Extremely.
a deception check.
Okay. Yeah, this one's gonna be a tough one.
Okay. Okay.
Woo!
You see the guard come back up. The first guard come back up. He says, "Egbert, is that you? I thought I just passed you in the hallway."
That it's scoundrel Sage. He trapped me in here. He took my armor. He's wearing my clothing.
Okay, you see him come over here. He says, "But how?" He says, "What is afoot here?"
I don't understand. He told me about my face, and then he tricked me somehow.
He says, he did the same to me about my face. He says, "I wondered. I thought that was strange." He says, "1 second, I'll be back." And he starts to head off again.
Don't be deceived by him. Okay.
Okay, you hear a ruckus going on down the hall.
All according to plan, hopefully.
Okay, you hear you see like okay, so let me do this here. You see about 6 guards come, including the one that you have of whose face is what you have, and the others are kind of surrounding him and kind of dragging him to the cell. He
You
says,
thought yourself so smart as to escape.
he says, "What? You're just trying to escape." He says, I'm not who you say I am."
You are not who you say you are.
Is one of them close enough to the bars for me to possibly grab the keys from them?
The closest one to you is about 10 feet away, probably. So, probably not. Let's see here. Yeah, about 10 feet away. So yeah. He said the others like the others are like the first guard that you saw. He's like, "Make sense of this."
It's all too obvious. I don't know how he's done it, but he's taken my face.
He's like, "Well, how do you explain getting? How did he get out? What did you do? And why does he have your clothing?"
Look at this. No matter how you observe it, one of us is able to change.
He says, "But it's not true. That's not me. I'm Egbert." And he tries.
Look at him use my full name. You all know you don't call me by Edward regularly.
Okay, but make another deception check. That should be all right.
Oh, come on! You're doing so good.
Now they're confused. They look at each other. I don't think this is right. He's like, look. If he was me, I wouldn't have given him my spear and shield and changed shirt willingly. And would I be outside the cell if I was him? Would I be outside the cell? No, I'd be inside the cell. And
think of it like this: if he were to perfectly switch our clothes, he could easily feign as doing something like that.
he's like,
He could be any one of you.
he's
For all
like,
we know, he's not even himself.
he's like, the first guard is like, "Well, when did this happen? He's been here all morning."
Think about it. How did he get that book?
Well,
Wait. How did he get that book?
Yeah, because how did he bring the book into the prison?
You're the one with the book.
Exactly. But how did he bring the book into the prison? How did but me saying that he is me, bring the book into the prison?
You already screwed that one up.
Yeah. No, I'm saying
How did you get that book in here?
no, he's saying, how did a prisoner get a book in here?
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm saying.
Right, but you said, how did he get that book?
Exactly, because I'm saying he's me, because I'm trying to deceive them.
Yeah, but okay, so this guy says, "I don't have a book. You have the book."
Because you gave me the book.
Well, why would I give you a book?
Why would you give me the book?
Right.
Why did you even have the book to begin with? I'm just like glancing
Now
over.
they're just all even more confused.
I'm just glancing over at at Jessa, just kind of like,
Help me out.
but they got to get closer to her bar. I say, come on, you all should know my face well now. No matter how good he is at impersonating it, he shouldn't be that good.
He's like,
Just compare us.
He's like, okay, the first guard. Okay, make another deception check for Folidar.
They don't know which one to shoot.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, they're kind of like wondering who they should be shooting at this point, probably.
It's one, yeah,
Or
it's
stabbing.
one of those scenarios where it's like, no, you.
An 8, wow. Okay.
18. Wait, what my mention is?
No, no, you're not at an advantage.
Oh man, really?
You'd be an 8. So. Yeah, you got advantage turned on for some reason. I don't know why. But all right. So they're like they're just confused and they say, hang on one second. Let me see what the first guard says, because he's sort of the leader at this point. But I don't think he's that smart. So yeah, he's not. He says, all right. I have an idea. What's that book about? And he asks you that, yeah.
I know, I didn't read the thing. He did.
He says, okay, so what was the book about? And he says to the guy without the book in his hand, and he says, I don't know, I don't have the book.
Well, I have a question. In order to know he had a book, wouldn't it be the guard allowed the book to come in, so he would have seen the title?
What? Is this out of game?
Yeah, this is an out-of-game question.
Okay. Maybe. You're assuming a lot, but
Well,
but
I mean,
you're assuming that this guard is the one who put him in here? Is that
yeah, that's my assumption.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but
At least that's the accusation.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm
So
just
that's
going along
that's
with
an
the
that's an
logic,
out
so-
of game though. So you didn't accuse anybody. So are you going to accuse somebody in game?
I don't know. I'm tempted to, but I don't know if it would be considered metagaming or not.
I mean, you can't hear the conversation, so.
Yeah, it's not metagaming if you
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
can-
If you're just saying it.
You can hear what's going on.
Well, wait! If they switched places, wouldn't the one who checked him in know the book's name regardless?
He's like, ugh, that stupid prisoner over there, that dragonborn, he has a point. And he says, all right, until we can go and talk to the watch commander, then we won't know how to sort this out. I'm sorry, whoever you are, you're stuck in there. And he says, and as for you, we're gonna have to put you in for safe holding. And they strip this guy of his spear and his shield and his helmet, and they take his chain shirt off and they toss him in this cell across from you guys, in this like looks like a general holding cell kind of thing, and they all kind of
So
like
he's
start to walk
absolutely
off.
naked?
No, he's wearing like a gambeson, like a tunic type thing,
okay.
and then he's got but they've got his chainmail and his chain shirt, I should say, and his shield and spear and his helmet, and they close the door and they start to walk off.
All right. Can I change back?
Change into one of the other ones.
You're gonna change
We
back.
have to do it 5 more times.
So when they leave, I'm gonna change back to myself, but I do it by pulling out a small, like, hand-drawn portrait and just kind of staring at it.
You're gonna change back to yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
When
Okay.
they leave.
Okay, you as you know, so yeah, they're well when they leave. Okay, when they leave. So
Yeah. Not immediately.
Okay, so how long after they leave?
About 5. I want to say just 10 seconds after they walk away. They're like clearly out of like hearing
Out of
distance.
view? Okay.
Yeah.
Until somebody yells, "Guard!"
Okay.
Right.
Okay, you turn back and then you hear, Varys, you see, he's changed back into something else. And you see the first guard come running again, and he says, see, you are just a deceiver. He says, why are you playing such games? He's like, do I need to put you in solitary?
Perhaps if it's bigger than this cage, I prefer it.
He says, it's not. It's much, much smaller.
That's very unfortunate. Let's talk about what happened here. You threw this man into a cell, did you not?
He says, yes, because you tricked us.
I tricked you.
He says, yes, you were wearing his face a moment ago.
And yet you did not think to ask questions about his identity.
What are you talking about? We asked him plenty of questions about his identity.
If you had, I would have not known the single answer. Your answer would have been completely found.
Yes, so we didn't ask you about your identity, is what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that you lack the skill to keep someone like myself imprisoned in here. But yet you think you have never had an escapee.
He says, yes, whatever. You're still behind bars. Good day.
And so is your friend.
He says, yes, and that's where he'll remain until the watch commanders talk to you.
Okay, we got one guard down.
And he's like, as the guy walks away, he's like, but Ferris, you can see it's me now. And he says, oh, when I get out of here, he says, your days are going to be hell. Your days are going to be hell when I get out of here.
Yes, hell, right, exactly. So now that you're here to talk, let's talk about that history you were so not eager to share.
He says, very well. He says, fine.
Tell me more about this land. I'm
This
eager
land?
to learn.
You mean the rock?
Oh? Continue.
He says, what is there to tell? He says, it's a place like any other. He says, I've grown up here my whole life, and he says, and you're in prison here. He says, that's kind of how things work.
That's the only way that things work.
He says, what do you need to know about this history? He says, there was a war. People went to war. There was an armada. There was lots of foreigners trying to encroach on our lands, and we had to stave them off. They were led by a vicious Vodani, and he was also known as the Silver King.
Now, how is it that situation wound up with us being incarcerated?
How did you what?
I'm saying, how did I get here, my good sir?
He says, well, I assume like everybody else gets here. Someone brought you here and you were imprisoned. He's like, you don't know?
I wouldn't be asking you questions, of course, if I did.
He says, this is probably just another trick.
Please, you're already behind bars. What more do I have to take from you?
He says,
See, we're all innocent. Everyone they throw in here is innocent.
He says, yeah, everybody says they're innocent. He says, okay, in my case, it might be true. He says, shoot. He says, well, I don't really know. He says, perhaps the watch commander would have more. You all came in last night. I assumed that you would all know why you're here. I mean, you're the prisoners after all. He says, I know why I'm here. Because of you, and he points at Folidar.
Edward, are you still on about that? Come on, we are more than past that situation now.
He says, yes. He says, and I was just in the middle of my morning meal, and he says, and It's probably nearly an hour before you get yours. And he says, perhaps they'll bring me something too.
I gleaned a few things, Edward. You seem to be a righteous man, more or less.
He says, yes. What of it?
Tell me, what if it is true that we're innocent?
He says, well then, why would you be in prison?
We all seem to have the same question.
Yeah, I'd really like to know why the hell I'm in here.
He says, that's a good question. He says, you all don't know why you're in here.
Nope.
You hear calls from down the hall. You hear like several calls of, I don't know why I'm in here either. Yeah, I'm innocent. I didn't do anything. Oh yeah, me neither.
Malcontent. But the point being, I'm holding a book. They're completely unarmed. What reason would we have to be here as we are?
He says, I don't know. He says, usually if you're in prison, it means you did something wrong.
Out of character question, would there be any, like, wrongful imprisonment in the past of this world? I don't know much about Forgotten Realms.
There might be, but I mean, there's wrongful imprisonment in pretty much, in any world, so probably. But I mean, so the guard though, he says, well, Egbert, he says, well, what's the last thing you remember?
Well, I was just simply discussing books with an aristocrat. I've hardly done anything violent or out of nature.
He says, and the aristocrats got angry and put you here? Is that what you think?
Well, as far as I can remember, angry was definitely their default emotion.
He says, that is a possibility, but that doesn't seem right for Brawl.
My point exactly.
He says,
and you miss, and I turn over to Jessa. And what are you here for exactly?
I don't really know, but
okay, he
it's
said,
my first time, so yeah.
You see Egbert kind of like, he says, it's no use. He says, they'll bring us breakfast soon. He says, but I'm afraid we're all here until Varys pulls his head out of his arse.
Varys, I take it that's the first guard.
He says, yes, it's the guard who is talking. He's kind of our current watch commander, but he's not the watch commander. He's just the head over the shift.
Seems rather unfair to you.
And of course, this floor.
How many floors? How many? Yeah.
How many floors are there? Oh,
How many floors?
I only know of the 4 that I've seen, but I do know there's a couple subfloors. He says I've never been down there into the cellar or the basement, as they call it. He says, and then there's rumor of things beneath that as well.
All right. What floor are we on here?
This is the main floor.
All right.
This is where all the trustees are usually kept.
Why aren't our magical abilities working?
He says, oh, that's the magiflexion.
The what?
Magiflexion?
What the hell is that?
He says the bars are they're what do you call it when something's inserted into something else? The inside, the core of the bars, they're created with magiflexion.
I see.
But they don't affect physical ability.
There's no way. No, I don't think so. But they are a strong, a very strong adamantine bar.
So that explains why I was able to shapeshift.
That explains why they were so hard to bend.
Yeah. We're not in the Sword Coast anymore. You know that, right?
Yeah, I realize this.
He says, well, of course you're not in the Sword Coast.
The last I remember, I was in Waterdeep negotiating a deal about getting my boat fixed.
He says, well, you're a far cry from Waterdeep, let me say.
Yeah.
Does that not seem suspicious to you? How did we get from these areas to this place in one night?
even if we were to escape ourselves, there's nowhere for us to go. You know that.
Yeah, we're foreign here. We'd
Very.
stick out like a sore thumb.
Well, that's not the least of our worries, mate.
Are you guys saying this kind of like loudly, or are you guys saying this is normal tones?
I'm saying in normal tone.
Normal tones. Okay. Okay. He says, you can hear the guard say, hang on, let me make a little perception check for the guard here. Oh wait, he's
The
got a
thing
plus
about
2 to
does it
perception
not
too.
seem weird to you that we came here in one night? That was out loud.
There we go. Perception 13.
Ooh.
Oh, wisdom 18 was better. But okay, so the guard says, excuse me, did you say that you're foreigners?
Yes.
He says,
Was it not obvious?
he says, no, not exactly. He says, there's so many on Brawl. He says, I don't know them all. He says, it would be impossible. He says, perhaps when you had your audience with the prince, perhaps it went terribly awry. He says, that's the only thing I can think of.
A prince.
He says, of course you met a prince when you first got here.
No,
My boy,
we
as
woke
I
up-
said before, never once had I heard of a Prince Andrew.
He
We
says,
woke up in these cells, dude.
he says, oh, well that does change things. He says, Varys, come at once. Let me out of this cell. and you guys don't hear anything, except, well, actually, you don't hear anything from Varys. You hear several of the other inmates in other cells, like beyond the walls and such, saying, "Yes, let me out too. Yeah, I don't belong here." Stuff like that.
The malcontent.
Yeah. And
So how is your prey going, Caw?
It's going good. I haven't heard anything yet, but I'm still working on that part.
Very well.
who's your deity, Ka?
It is Bahamut.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
You're praying to Baphomet?
No, not Baphomet. Bahamut.
Oh,
Bahamut.
okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
No, Baphomet and Bahamut are two entirely
Oh
different
yeah.
deities.
Never mind.
Yeah, so like I said, the Egbert kind of sits down with his back against the bars. Are you going to try to pick the lock again, Jessa?
Oh man,
Yeah.
his back's against the bars. Yeah.
Here goes.
And Fallon is totally interested in what the young woman is doing.
Okay. Go ahead and make another lockpick roll. Ooh,
Woo!
23.
Nice.
Okay, you when you're picking the locks, you hear one of the pins click and move over. You see one of them move over.
Oh, only 2 more to go.
And you're kind of surprised that the whole lock didn't just pop open. You did something very right, but for whatever reason, only one of the pins moved over.
All right. Can I keep going?
Sure.
No way.
Go. Let's go.
Okay.
Very nice.
You hear a second pin click and pop over.
Nice.
Interesting.
Okay, one more.
Go.
Ah.
Oh.
Okay, the splinter breaks off quietly, but it breaks off in there, and you're spending a minute fidgeting with it, trying to get it out. You hear Egbert say, "This does not add up." He says, You're foreigners, yet you've had no audience with the prince, and you don't know why you're here." He says, "Go ahead and everybody make a persuasion check."
Alrighty.
Ooh.
Persuasion.
So persuasive.
14.
Too focused.
Okay. He says, well, some of you may be lying. He says, but some of you, I feel, are telling me the truth. He says, so something is amiss here. I can't quite put my hand on it. He says, you say you were in Waterdeep, and you say you were in Daggerford? He says, it doesn't make sense. Something is not making sense. And he seems to be getting frustrated.
Can I, since I nat 20 this, can I just give some sort of really cheesy speech real quick?
Sure, yeah.
Egbert, words are the bridge between the bonds of our souls. If they cause distress, then it is because they weigh heavily on you. You know that our words have some meaning.
He says, true. He says, and he yells, he says, Varys, I'm hungry! Like that. and you see, one of the other guards comes up and, actually you see two of the other guards come up. And they both come up when they've got trays of food, and they unlock the first door here, and the one comes in here and starts to bring in food to you guys, and then this one here brings over food to the rest of you, and he says to Egbert says to him, he says, you're not Varys. He says, tell Varys to let me out, and he says, I can't tell Varys to let you out, but I will. Here, I brought you food, and he like kind of starts handing out some food to everybody, and he says, these people don't belong in here any more than I do, and he says, but that's what everybody says, and he says, yes, but I'm a guard, and he says, yeah, but strange situations, he says, this one here, and he points to Folidar, and he says, I kind of think, he says, and what about this girl, this girl here, and he points to her, Jessa, and he says, wasn't she also a different girl when we brought her in here? He says, I swore she looked different.
Yes, but I changed back so that you could find me.
He says,
I have had no intent to hide anything.
He says, yes, and he comes over, and he gives you guys food, and he like, passes food through the bars. Like,
Can I try and, like, slide a hand, steal the keys out from him?
You notice that he doesn't seem to have any keys.
It's not Varys. Dang it.
And he says, tell Varys I need to get out of here. He says, these people haven't even had an audience with the prince. And he says, oh, that's nonsense.
No, it's not. I came from Waterdeep. I have no idea why the hell I'm here.
Where in God's name is
Ew,
Waterdeep?
what prince?
And again, like my friend said, what prince? We have not met a single person of royalty. We woke up in these cells.
He's like, well, that was the watch commander. He brought you in. Of course he brought you in after I don't know these things. He says I'm just a lowly guard. I don't make a good pay here. He says I just make a living. And he kind of like takes off kind of like swiftly. And
Does anybody else think that maybe Varys is a corrupt guard?
And this guy says he says, I don't think Varys is a corrupt guard. He says, I don't think he's very bright, but I will go ahead and have a talk with him. You truly haven't had an audience with the prince.
Swear on my life, and I would take my claw and kind of dig into my skin as to start bleeding.
Make another persuasion.
that's creepy.
Make another persuasion check for Cutler.
17.
17. He says, very well. We'll get to the bottom of this.
Thank you.
And he goes away, and he's gone for a couple minutes. And everybody's got food now, and it's kind of like a eggy mess with some bread, and some water. And
I want to cast my spell that I didn't get pronounced, even if I try hard.
yeah. You don't know what prestidigitation.
Prestidigitation.
Okay, you don't you're not able to cast it for whatever reason. It's just seems like it's not
Flavor my
seems
food,
like
not on the.
Yeah, it seems like it's
Even then.
Like a Faraday cage.
yeah, it seems like it's not even you can't recall the spell to cast it, or when you do, or when as you finish to cast it, it just kind of like fizzles out.
Something is amiss here.
But like a couple seconds later, Varys comes back up and he says, my guard says that you guys haven't even had an audience with the prince yet, and the Egbert says, that's what I've been yelling for you for, stupid. And and he's like Egbert, I'm sorry, this is all very confusing. Nobody comes here without having an audience with the prince. He says, I definitely, we need to talk to the watch commander for sure. He says, one moment, and he reaches into his pocket, and he pulls out a small stone. And you can see he says a command word of some sort, and he says, Galad, we have prisoners here that said they have not had an audience with the prince. And he says, I see. Okay. And you can see him talking out loud, but you can't hear anything. And he says, oh, okay then. I will do that. And he says, he puts the stone back in his pouch and he says, well, and he kind of tries to like go back and forth a little bit to kind of address all of you. He says, you see, and he's kind of motioning with his hands and talking with his hands, and he says, you're all here for your own protection.
Huh?
He says, Watch Commander Galad has ordered me to release you if you so choose. He says, but it is very dangerous, and you perhaps might wish to reconsider and stay here for the time being until they can get things sorted out.
Feldon is putting his hands up. Oh, wait, 1 moment. You could say we can elaborate our desire to leave these bars behind.
He says, yes, I'm afraid that is what he said. He says, but if he is recommending that you stay, I highly have to recommend it as well. And Varys, Egbert says, Varys, what about me? And he's like, oh yes. And he kind of goes over here and unlocks his cell and lets him out. And he says, go get your shield and your shirt back, and he kind of like walks off.
Can you elaborate why we are needing protection? We all woke up here with no idea what's going on.
He says the watch commander said you were brought here, by ship, and that it was of utmost imperative that you remain here until you were done being quarantined.
What?
And also until your issues were sorted out.
May we have an audience with your watch commander, please?
He says, I'm afraid he won't be back in until this evening, but I have been ordered, if you wish, to send an armed escort with you, should we release you, to have an audience with the prince.
Could we perhaps... Is there a guard barracks here that maybe we could chill out with until he gets back?
I'm totally eager to join our guard troop to the aforementioned prince, and I'm inviting you everyone to join me in this jolly endeavor.
I
mean, it's better than being behind bars, I guess.
He says,
Yeah.
he says, yes, 1 second, and he says, before you go, Egbert, he says, he says he hands him a small key and sends him off in this direction, and they come in here and unlock the doors, and they start to unlock your cages. And he says, come with me, Varys says, come with us, and we'll take you to the mess hall, well, the meeting area, the guards room. And he says, we'll try to sort this out.
And what about our belongings? Because I know I wore better clothes and had a big weapon with me.
He says, perhaps we can sort that out too. And he heads out here. And he says,
nice.
And he frees all of you from your cages and unlocks his cage. And
Any comment on the fact that I have 2 pins open?
No, he just puts the key in, pops it, and it pops open the rest of the way, and so he doesn't even know. And then he comes in here and he goes and lets Fallon out of his cage also.
Oh, nice. Thank you. I really appreciate
Trying
it.
to figure out where the mess hall is.
And he says, no, not that way. Oh, I'm stretching him out. He says, not that way. He says, down here. He says that way is to the other levels of the dungeon.
So this hallway right here.
Yeah, this hallway here. And
Do you mind accompanying us? Your friends are kind of blocking the way.
Yep. So they all kind of go down here, and then they take you down to a table, basically, down here, where they're all kind of hanging out and sitting around.
Men of many faces, follow us.
Just a moment. I just wanted to study this area a little more before I left. Also fascinating.
I still can see them down the hall. If you...
Yes,
Are you
I'll
down the
be
wrong
following
hall?
behind you.
Are you down the wrong hall? Oh no, yeah, down there.
No.
Yep. Okay, I see. You're down the right hall now.
Nice cells. Interesting.
So you
I haven't...
You get out here. It's like a little meeting dining area where it looks like it's made just for basically the guards. You assume that all the prisoners take their meals inside their cages, and you see some wine barrels and some barrels of food, a big like a barrel of water where they have a couple ladles that they dip into get drinks and such, and you see some like little things, and they invite you to come and sit down and finish a morning meal with them if you'd like, or after the meal they will probably play some Three Dragon Ante to pass the time, and it'll be several hours before the watch commander comes.
They...
But they say that they are... The Varys does say that he's been, given the leave in order to escort you to the prince.
Yeah, and we are for our own safety here. So to maximize our safety, would it be great if we could get back our belongings?
He says, "Oh yes. He says, well, we don't have." He says, "Here, one second," and he walks over to a desk that Folidar standing by with the other 2 guards, and he pulls out purses of coins. He says, "We have some monetary provisions for you," and he hands you each a purse of coins, and each purse of coins has about 50 coins in it of a strange, unusual looking type.
What?
It's sort of a bluish metallic looking thing.
Okay.
I would like to investigate the coin for just like markings, read words, whatever it may be.
It has the face of a what looks like a tall, slim man, maybe like a very slender man. Anyways, it is kind of a handsome-looking gentleman, but very regal, and it looks like a royalty of some sort, of wearing a crown. And
this place is proving to be very fascinating.
It says something in common, but then it says it's essentially like an old common, like a Latin, equivalent, you know, like, but it's the name Kozar is on there. And it's basically like honor to the king, and
Now, even though we can't read it, can I tell that it's Old Common?
no, you can read it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
It's like you can tell that it's like says something like honor to the king, you know, like, you know, and it's honor to the king Kozar, you know, but and you do see it says 10 credits.
Each coin is, and we got 50 coins.
Each thing that looks like, yeah, like a little metallic coin. It's like almost like a rectangular shape, and each of them says 10 credits.
I would like to ask about the ship that brought us in. Being that I'm a pirate, maybe would I know anything about the ship potentially?
Probably not. I have the feeling that the answer of this question, what ship is brought here, would not be funny.
He says, "Well, I don't know what ship it was." He says, "I believe it was an Elven Armada ship." He says, "But it could have been the Elven word for Corsair. My Elven's a little rusty," and he kind of repeats the word, and Fallon, you're not sure what he's saying. You know, it's like
No.
it's
I have a hard time to
it's like
remember.
You're trying to like hear what he's saying, but it sounds like it would be like if somebody never heard a word from another language before and they're trying to repeat that word. The best you can come up with, he's talking about some sort of cheese.
Could you just describe the ship in your big it is, how it's looking?
No. Fallon knows Elven. Fallon knows Elven fine. The guy that's trying to repeat the Elven word doesn't know Elven.
Oh, okay.
So Fallon cannot make out whether he's talking about cheese or herpes, you know, at this point.
We're
so,
talking
yes.
about would I notice the confused look on Fallon's face by any chance?
Yes, exactly. Totally confused, and I'm a little bit intrigued.
We're talking about a ship, Fred. The ship that brought us here, to be specific.
Exactly.
He says, yes, I don't know the name. It's a no. He knows you guys are talking about a ship. He doesn't know what the name is. Like, the guy said it. The guy said he thinks it's the Elven word for Corsair, and then he tried to repeat the Elven word for Corsair, and Fallon is basically hearing it's either cheese or you know, some other thing that sounds nothing like Corsair to him, but sure, okay, it's Corsair, you know, that kind of thing. You know?
So to better understand what ship it is, could you describe the ship, the look? How does it look? What color of sails? What does the bow look like?
One of the most important things of a ship, what did the front little wooden statue piece thing look like?
The figurehead.
Yeah, the figurehead. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
And you call yourself a pirate? No. He says. He says, well, it looked like most Elven Armada ships, I suppose. It was an arrowing, I suppose. It was a smaller ship. You know, the very thin keel with the hull going down under it, of course. He's like, I don't know. I'm not a ship. I'm not a sailor. He says, but
one arrowing or two arrowing?
It was one, but it had
Okay.
it had two sails for sure. He says they all have at least two sails, I think. He says, I don't know how to explain it. Greenish sails they were, greenish, and had a nice glow about them. Of course, you know, you can always tell when they're going through the sky that they have this nice glow.
Thank you for your elaboration. I think I remember the name of the ship. It's quite similar to Corsair. Yes, exactly. So let's eat a little bit and yeah. Because I have something
Okay, so
to
you
think
guys
about.
gonna sit down and eat for a bit?
If I can cut in for a moment, what are we exactly being protected from?
He says, well, I don't know that I'm at liberty to say, but I think anybody who's anybody deserves to know. And since you are all essentially free men and women, of course, he says, I think you are deserving to know. He says, just don't, if the watch commander asks, just, I don't know that you know that I know. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way. He says,
No.
Mum's the word.
but illithids, of course.
What?
He says, you know, mind flayers.
I know what you're talking about. That's why I just screamed what.
Can I toss an Arcana check forward? What do I know about mind flayers?
Sure.
Is that why we can't remember coming here?
He says, so you do know that they could possibly do something. That mind flayers are they're kind of foreign. They're very strange for sure. Almost alien creatures.
I was gonna also roll
Okay.
Arcana.
They
Sorry.
kind of you do know that they do have, you know, even being called mind flayers, that they do have a sort of an ability to manipulate people's minds or do things with people that,
Yeah.
you know, or you know, at least rumored and legendary, you know, like and they're very rare to be seen, but you're used to them being in the Underdark, and you don't remember being in the Underdark recently. It's kind of a strange thing, actually. So
What in the world did this group do to get themselves hunted by mind flayers?
he says, well, apparently you were previously going to be hosts.
I
For
say.
what?
One question. Can probably Fallon remember as a wizard that there may be another place where mind flayers are quite common or more well known?
You could try. Yeah, you could do a.
Yeah,
Arcana check.
I
Arcana
have
or
some
history?
clues. Yeah, with sky and arrowing and trades in the sky. Yes. Yeah, I try to. What would be better? No. History. Arcana. Arcana. I'm a wizard. No, still not my grasp.
See. You don't remember. You know that they're generally considered. You know, they're generally considered not good. They're generally considered maybe not evil, but not good. You know, they're feared by most people. You know, you know what they look like. They have basically octopus heads. You know,
Yeah.
And most of them wear like robes and kind of are essentially like mental users, if not casters of some sort.
And they eat brains.
And they like to eat brains. Apparently, that's what you remember about that. But you're not sure 100% where they'd be most common. In the Underdark, probably, of course, but they have been known to be seen on surface. And in huge cities like Waterdeep, you might even encounter one, but usually they keep them under wraps because, you know, they're, like I said, they're kind of shunned and they're not liked. They're not well received, and they're just a little scary and creepy to most humanoids.
Never seen a mind flayer in Stonebridge, that's for certain.
Never seen one in Waterdeep either.
Dangerous enemies to have, to be sure.
He says,
Well,
well,
that's
still in-
probably why they locked us up.
he says, well, okay, so Varys says, well, as hosts, what you would be doing is, I believe, well, we're not sure how it exactly works, but I believe what would be happening is you would be becoming mind flayers yourselves.
I
through a
would never.
process known as cerebromorphosis. Yeah.
Squidification.
He says,
I would
yeah,
never
they put
fucking
these.
agree to that.
He says they put these little, for lack of a better term, these tadpoles in ya, and then
Yeah.
they grow. And
That's right.
he says, I don't know much about it. Like I said, I'm just a guard. It's above my pay grade. But you were all destined to be hosts, and apparently you were brought here for quarantine at that time, and I guess the quarantine period is over. But yes, there's a fear that the mind flayers will be after you.
I check myself for tadpoles.
Right, same.
I don't know. I don't know that there's a way that you can check yourself for tadpoles.
So,
That's
you said they put them in us. What does that mean? Where?
Hold on. With the tadpole, I look to the mages, or the people who clearly know about mind players. Would the tadpoles be magical in any way?
Would I know the difference between psionic and magical with an 18 in Arcana? Probably not.
Yeah, you would. You would know, like, some are mental powers, some are
Right.
so
here's the
magical.
deal with
Some pulls on the weave, some pulls on the essence of the mind, kind of thing.
this is probably a psionic or more mental effect, an innate ability that mind flayers have to work the weave with their force of will alone.
I was wondering if maybe detect magic could detect if the pulls are in us or not.
That's way above my pay grade, big guy.
Yeah, if the bars didn't do it, I don't know what else would.
By the way, can I get your names if we're all going to be hunted together?
Name's Cutler the Wall Colton.
Oh, I can see why.
Where are my manners? I am Folidar. An honor to meet you all.
Nice to meet both of you. I am Pablouis.
No, seriously though. Yeah.
That's my name. It's called Bluey.
That's an actual name. He's my nephew.
I can see the family resemblance. Yeah.
Some names are sounding like sounds. Some sounds.
It's to honor my people.
Then by all means, it's a rightful name to have.
And to you, Fallon, the Call Bluey pronunciation almost sounds like the guard's pronunciation of Corsair. But anyway.
I like a Bluey. It's phonetic. It's
yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Call me Fallon, good friends.
His name's an onomatopoeia. Okay, so at that point too, Vera says, let me leave you here with the guards, and you all can, get acquainted, and I will go and see if I can't shake up the watch commander to get him here sooner.
Yeah. All right.
And so he takes off and heads out the door. Takes off. And,
yeah.
One question to you others. Did you also hear that the ship goes through the sky?
Ship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just gonna brush by that.
We all heard that.
If this isn't an elaborate joke, then we are standing on a satellite to the moon itself called Brawl, one of the tiers of Selune.
But if we were on the moon, how would they know what Waterdeep is?
Not the moon, a satellite to the moon.
Ah, okay.
This all sounds rather peculiar.
Yeah.
But why us?
Are you guys all saying this out loud?
Yeah.
Okay, one of the guards speaks up and says, "Yeah, that's pretty much the way I heard it from my history." He says, "I believe it. We are on a what you call it, a satellite.
Yeah.
I believe we are on the tiers of Selune. I don't know. I've only known Brawl is my home since I was young, so perhaps I don't know much about it, but I know a lot about Brawl. He says, you know, it's a city like any other, I believe. I don't know. I've never been outside the city.
Of course, they called it the Rock earlier. That seems to check out.
Ah, yes. They're trapped here. I see.
Says, no, we're not trapped. Well, you were. I mean, this is the dungeon. It's the largest prison in the area. He says, it's in fact it's the only prison in the area. He says there are a couple of jail cells and other places, but yeah, this is where we send our prisoners from low security to high security.
Cutler would
Wow.
just go, so
That
you could leave
explains
this
that.
place at will then.
What do you mean?
You could physically leave this place anytime you wanted to.
He says, yes, as could you.
You wouldn't die from anything at all by leaving this place.
He says, I'm not sure I follow your meaning.
I fear you may not get much more information out of these guards.
He says, I imagine you could die from anything out there as you could in here. He says, especially the orc up in the next section.
Orc? Excuse me?
He says, yes, he's a clever, cunning one, he is. He killed several men already. Some of them guards.
Oh dear.
While they're talking, I'm going to investigate the table in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pretend like it doesn't exist and try and push my hand through it.
See if it's an illusion.
Okay.
Nice and subtle.
Okay, you definitely discover that it is definitely a solid table.
Right. The last thing I want to be is in some sort of mind flayer pod dreaming a nice dream with all you folk.
He says, that's because you don't. One of the guards says, that's because you don't work here as a guard. And they all kind of laugh and like, they all kind of like, they kind of shudder a little bit at the thought of being in a mind flayer pod, but they kind of think that, you know, it would be better than working here sometimes, you know, like.
I'm Liren Valkane. I'm just some stupid sellsword outside of Daggerford. That's it.
Hey, we have a lot in common. I'm just a pirate.
He says, Daggerford, is that the other side of the rock?
Yeah.
Probably it's more like a little step down.
Oh, you're from the Undercity. He says, of course. He says, no.
I mean,
wonder none of you look familiar.
No, I mean if you step out from the rock and down to the thing below.
The thing below.
You've never been to the edge of this place, have you?
He says, well, yes, I often watch ships come in. He says, but
Have you ever wondered where those ships come from?
he says, they come from out there.
We're from out
Exactly.
there.
Across the sea.
Yeah. Yeah, all right.
He says that, you know, the sea of stars.
We're from out there on the other side of out there.
And some of you recognize the name of the Sea of Fallen Stars.
Yeah.
But you've never heard it referred to as the Sea of Stars.
All right.
Out of character, I love this setting. But okay,
So do I.
Yeah.
So, oh, go ahead.
Sea of Stars. Oh yeah, yes, exactly, totally. And who doesn't want to sail on the Sea of Stars to see the many places that the stars offers?
He says, I don't know. I've never been on a ship myself. He says, it just, I fear like falling into the void.
Oh my, you don't know what you're missing. Sailing on a ship is some of the funnest things I've ever done.
He says, truly, I will maybe think of it. Maybe I should save up some earnings and go somewhere. He says, I don't know where there is to go.
Maybe if we can get back home. I'm assuming we're not on the material plane right now.
He says, I've never even been to the Undercity. He says, although it's just it's just a walk away.
I'm assuming
still
we're
has
not
to.
on the material plane right now.
He says, I don't know what you mean, but I assure you, I am very material.
I look over to anybody in our group. Are any of you wizards?
Let me toss an Arcana at you.
What exactly?
Who else is a caster here?
I am.
I am.
So Taylor is a caster, and Jessa, you're a caster? Okay.
Shit. Roll Arcana.
Yeah, go ahead and roll Arcana check.
Nice. Kablooey.
Koblui, you and I think Liren, who has a suspicion already, and Jessa definitely. You all know that you guys should be on the prime material.
That 20, Jessa.
Yep. Oliver also. You also know that you should be on the prime material plane. You should be on the main plane that you're normally from.
We're on the
Exactly.
prime.
Still on the prime, still on the main,
Okay.
still in the good old world.
So they're
Well,
not in the astral.
trailing the moon. Trailing the moon.
Jessa says, Jessa, you realize that you're not only on the prime material plane, you're not that far from Toril, which is the world that you live on.
Exactly. Taurel's a little bit down there.
It's
Probably 1,000 miles, but
it's extremely far south. Yeah, like
Yeah, it's
a few thousand miles at least.
we're not that far from home, all things considered.
So all we really need to do is get somebody to take us back,
That's right.
and then figure
Maybe
out what the hell mind flayers wanted us anyway.
That's a problem. That's a problem, mate.
oh, I know what Mind Flayer would mow my brain. It's quite delicious, I think. And I think some of your brains would look also delicious for them.
Okay, what about me?
What's that talk about you?
Okay. About that time, as you guys are deliberating, the Varus comes back in, and oops, hang on one second. Varus comes back in, and he where'd he go? Where'd Varus go? Varus, where are you? There you are. Okay. Varus comes back in, and he heads back in with a tall, stocky gentleman, and this gentleman has like kind of a deep blue skin, but he looks lean and gaunt, but stocky in the shoulders and broad. You know, like so it's kind of almost a what you call it, like a like an oxymoron, like a you know, like a it almost doesn't match up because he's broad and stocky, but also very gaunt in the face and such.
Your form is very paradoxical to me.
Yeah, and he says, I am Galad. He says, I am the city watch captain. He says, I am also the watch commander for the dungeon at the moment.
Yeah, Liren's gonna go ahead and stand at his approach.
He says,
I will stand as well.
I have been ordered to bring you to the prince for an audience. He says, have you ever met a prince before?
Not on
I
good
have.
terms.
I have met several. Sometimes, just come with the trade.
He says, well, Prince Andrew is about 140 years old. He is human. He hails from around your area there. And he looks at Liren, and he says, I believe you're from Daggerford, correct?
Yeah, I'm from Daggerford, sure.
He says about 140 about 140 years ago, I suppose. At any rate, his family's from that area. He has been ruling here for nearly 100 years. However, I must prepare you. I've ordered the guards to bring you your things, and we will be meeting the prince within the hour, if possible. What say you?
With utmost pleasure.
Sounds great to me.
Yeah, I'm in.
All this
One
talk of
action.
brains.
Oh, let's talk of brains. Okay.
On this topic, I want to pick yours as I turn to Jessa. You haven't quite made yourself known in this conversation.
I was just hoping that maybe I could slip away.
I've learned that any person who knows their salt worth a lockpick has been in a few shiesty situations.
And so,
Maybe.
and so that being said, I think we'll end this session there.
All right.
And then next time you guys, in 2 weeks, we can, you guys can go meet the prince.
That sounds
We will
good.
have an epic
Excellent.
roleplay moment
Hey,
when I
great
get my
work,
beautiful
you all.
woman back.
That was whew.
That was
Interesting.
intense.
All right.
Very.
And anybody, I don't know if anybody has anything to promote, like channel-wise or anything like that.
I don't have any videos up yet, but if you look up Wizards Forge on YouTube, that is my YouTube channel that I'm starting about tabletop RPGs and RPG video games.
Cool. Okay.
Nice.
And of course, make sure to check out all the other amazing Action Surge shows that we've got going on beyond this one, if you haven't already.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Naturally.
Indeed.
Yeah, and we've got one. We've got one going every other Sunday. We've got one going every other Saturday morning, every other Saturday night, every other Friday, and every other Thursday evening, afternoon.
Our
Twitch by
games are so busy. They're so busy.
Yeah. So
I Twitch by the same name as I use on Discord. Take a trip. I tend to do Wednesdays. I tend to write. I'm writing a full novel on Twitch.
oh wow, that's different.
Nice.
Now,
Yeah,
So it's
are-
week by week.
when you're writing the novel, are you reading it aloud on Twitch? Is that how
Yeah, I tend to read it
it's
a lot as
interactive,
well.
or is it?
But yeah,
actually
you get
you're
to
just
see.
writing it
You get to. Oh,
on
go
the
ahead. I'm
screen,
sorry.
kind of thing. Is that
Okay, so you get to see the entire process. I read it. You get to see me create the characters. You get to see me write the chapters, everything. And I also welcome people to join in, throw ideas out there and stuff.
mental note? Hijack Deontay to work on your supplement.
Right. Create your own adventure.
What about that? No.
Oh, what did I say that out loud? Was that my inner voice talking out loud? Anyway.
Yes.
Hijack anyone you can to work on this supplement with you. Anyway, so all right, so yeah, so anybody else
If
got
you
anything to
need-
promote?
Like I said, if you need video editing, just let me know. and
Yeah,
I'll get
actually, I
that up
probably
for
will
you.
send last week's over to you too, so you can splice them together because, or not
All right.
last week's Fridays, because it was recorded in 2 different bits, and then of course you're gonna just kind of have to fade it together a little bit, probably.
As best
so,
as I can, yeah.
yeah, because it's kind of a mess. But,
Even if you just get the please wait, you could just make that shorter.
yeah, and definitely when you get to a beer rate back type of thing or whatever, just definitely cut that way down.
Yeah, make it like a couple of seconds long or
Yeah,
whatever.
and like today is starting soon, you could chop that down to like a couple seconds. You know? That was like lasted an hour.
Yeah,
People
that
were
was a
going
lot
crazy
of
for
fun,
it.
too.
Yeah. It was the
If you drum up
anticipation.
support
I hope
by
it was
anticipation,
worth all your anticipation. And remember, you know, if you want to have a sponsorship opportunity, send all sponsorship requests to actionsurge1@gmail.com. That's kind of a joke. It's kind of a running joke, but at the same time, if somebody does want to support the channel and does want to sponsor the channel, we do have a Patreon that we can do that through, or you can actually, you know, get a hold of us through actionsurge1@gmail.com too, and Queen or I or Ryan or somebody will answer that.
Also, Deontay, Queen of Goths, thank you for the sub.
my pleasure.
Oh yes, and thank everyone for the subs today, and thank everyone for watching today. And we hope you guys enjoyed the stream.
I look forward to 2
Great.
weeks from now. Let's see where this goes.
That'll
Alright,
be
yeah.
June 5th. We'll be back.
June 5th, I believe, is correct. 1 second. That is correct. Wait. No. Yes, June 5th. Yep.
Mhm.
June 5th. Yep. Awesome.
Perfect.
And
You guys-
there is a calendar on Twitch, and,
Alright, June
and there's a
5th.
Google calendar that Twitch calendar leads to from Twitch. But you guys can find the Google calendar, and we can share it probably somewhere. So definitely maybe put it on the YouTube channel too. So all right, have a good one, guys. I'm gonna transition off to ending soon, and we're gonna head off.